What's good, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Take Time Out with Tre Mosley, and I am Tre Mosley, and that young lady right there, I calls her Velvet, and you'll find out why when you hear her talk. She has come on to the VO scene, just pow. Um, I have watched her growth, and I am so happy to see her evolution, not just as a VO talent, but just as a person as well. Um, you know, you know what? I ain't gonna get all sappy because I make it all sappy. I'm not gonna do that. But I'll just tell you this: she's done video games, trailers, promos, commercials. She is all over the place, and when you turn on the TV, you're gonna hear her. Without further ado, Miss Rebecca Lee joins the show today. What up, girl?
Hey, hello, 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 hello. Thank you for having me.
Oh,
It's
thank you for being here.
it's a
Um,
pleasure.
oh, I appreciate that. One of the things that um the first time she and I talked, I had her on. I'll tell you this quick story. I had her on speakerphone, and there are certain people in this business that just have a certain distinct voice, and you kind of like, whoa. So my wife is walking by, and she hears her talking, and she go, "Well, damn, what was that?" I'm like, "That's Rebecca." She just has that kind of. So this is something I usually ask the fellas, but because your voice is so distinctive, have you when did that happen for you?
Like, at what age did it kick in for
Yeah.
me? Oh, I probably sounded much older, much younger than much younger than I should have been to have this because it was gradual, I would say. It wasn't like this moment where someone turned around and was like weird, but they did always talk about like my enunciation and my diction. Um, but the
Mhm.
sound of my voice, I might have gotten picked on in my like early to preteens when everybody sounded weird and awkward and I had a deeper voice than the boys. That probably was it, but it had been with me so long that there was no defining moment. My son, he's 9 now, and he's had a deep voice since he was, like, 4. So I think I was just one of those where you just look around like, "How
Uh-oh.
old is that kid?"
My buddy.
So I think
Man,
yeah, yeah.
'cause I couldn't imagine seeing, like, 9 or 10-year-old Rebecca Lee in a ice cream truck come. Yes, I would like the fudge, and they're like, "What's wrong with her voice? Why she sound like that?"
It's all them
You know,
GMOs, it's all them hormones in the food, it's something.
whatever it worked, it worked.
Thank you.
So, were you so how I guess how was isn't the best question. When were you aware of your voice? Like, when I say aware, for me, I remember the day where I my voice changed and I was just like, "Oh, this is
Oh,
cool."
I'm
Now,
about to get yeah.
I'm answering the phone like, "Hello." Just because it was so new and novel to me. Um, Once you made that discovery, um, did anything in particular change for you? Did you start, let me put this thing to work, or was it just like, oh my god, I woke up with all this gravitas, female gravitas in my voice. Like, what do I do with this?
Well, I realized but see, okay, so this is me not having any sense. I realized that I had something in school when they would, like, be going around in class and they were like, "Who wants to read?" And I was like, "Ooh, ooh, ooh, me." I thought it was because I could read well, like, without, sight, which also comes in handy, yeah, in our career where sight
That's
reading,
correct.
but that was what I thought was the good thing, and I suppose it's a combination of the 2, yeah, but, that was the thing. That was the moment that I realized that my speaking, or at least reading, was impactful because everybody was turning around and watching and smiling. It wasn't until I was a flight attendant, making announcements on the plane, which is how I got in this career, that
I was
I
gonna get to that.
realized that
Yeah.
there was a sound to my voice that people were feeling, and they told me every single day. So that's when I found out, like, oh, well, okay, there's something here. I don't know what to do with it, but there's something here.
Mhm. So, since you brought it up, and I was gonna bring that up since you alluded to it. Um, Being a flight attendant, and you have traveled all over the world, literally.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, Talk about this I don't know, when you're on a plane, and I know they don't do it as much now, they have a video,
Yeah.
but back in the day, they would have the young lady or guy that would, give you instructions and look, this how it's gonna go down on the plane. Um, has anyone, after you've given the instructions and now you're walking by and you're serving, they're like, "You have just this dynamic voice," like, "Ooh," you know, have they complimented you? Has someone said, "Well, hey, can you do my voicemail?" Because people do that and all that type of stuff. Have you had any encounters that started to get your mind going like, "I can probably do this thing," because people keep saying, and then we hear it all the time, "You have such a lovely voice."
Eventually,
Like,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, all 15 years from beginning to end, and I'm hard-headed. My head might be little, but it's like a rock, honey. I had to hear it so many times, and even every flight just about if I was making the announcements for us, it wasn't so long ago. I retired due to COVID. I That was when I stopped and to do this full time, so it wasn't that long ago, but I fly the little puddle jumpers, the little up and down planes, and they don't have those fancy PA systems on them, so every single flight, I heard something from someone. And most flights, if you're a seasoned traveler, you don't pay attention to the flight attendant anymore. Matter of fact, you do your level best not to look at her, not to draw any attention to yourself. But it would take me saying something specific or different or pausing for people to look up from their newspapers or their laptops and to be like, that's a person talking. So when and not a robot, not a computer. So when I would walk through the aisle, absolutely, absolutely, everyone told me, you should do something, you should do radio mostly, right, is what you hear, and
Yeah.
I was just always like, "Well, do you know somebody? Do you got the hookup? Like, I don't know how to do this." But
Yeah.
eventually, well, 2 things. 1, yes, someone did hire me to do their voiceover, their voicemail on their phone. It
Wow.
was, yeah, he we were at the jet bridge pulling up, and I was just about to let everybody off, and he kinda pushed up. He was in first class, but kinda pushed up between the rows and said, "Listen, here's my phone. I'll give you $100 if you just here's my name is John Doe. Just record this for me. Do my voicemail for my incoming calls, and I'll give you money." And I did it right there in the galley, and that was
Wow.
such an empowering, cool feeling because then I'm like, "Oh, y'all want to give me money for this? Y'all want to give me money for this? Okay." And shortly thereafter, I started looking into lessons and taking classes, and it took off from there. But that had to be a smooth 8 years of hearing it before I finally started paying attention.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
can understand that. You get to a point where, you hear it so often, it's like, "Alright, I gotta stop playing."
Yeah.
'Cause if one more person tells me, What are you doing with that?" or "You should do
Yeah.
this." And my story is kinda similar. I always wanted to read in class,
Mhm.
even when my voice sounded like this, but I always wanted to you know growing up a teacher's kid,
Mhm.
you're either gonna be the good kid or the bad kid. I
Mhm.
was kinda right in the middle because
Okay.
I used to do all type of shit, but then, certain teachers be like, "I'm gonna tell your mother." Now the kid's like, "Ooh," but my mom was like, "Look, he is your responsibility between 7 and 3.
Don't call me.
Don't call me." And my mom worked at the school, like, downstairs. She's like, "Why are you down here?" "'Cause she said I was talking too much." Well, you tell her I said that I'm not your responsibility
Right.
right now. She is.
I
And
don't
I
even
would
know
go
you right
upstairs
now, right.
and I would go upstairs like, "Well, she said,
Said, right? My mama
you
said.
she said that you my responsibility till she ain't gonna do nothing." So when I knew I had that kind of carte blanche to just act an
Mhm.
ass,
Mhm.
but after a while, it's like, "Look, we gotta do something with this kid." So I was in these oratorical
Yeah, yeah.
contests,
Yeah.
spoken word and poetry,
There you
and
go.
all of that, and I had to do something just I love to read, period.
Yeah.
Um,
Same.
but then, like you said, when the voice changed, now it's like, "Hey, I wrote this poem for you."
Hey, girl.
So, back in the day,
Yep.
we remember the voicemails with the song in the back?
Voicemails, mixtapes, and poems. That's oh, yeah.
And I had some Jodeci on. Yo, so
Romancing
you
them.
you reach Trey and, just leave that message, you know what I'm saying? They're like,
Just hit me back, you know what's up.
"I heard your message, you said." "Oh, for real?"
You're a mess.
So let's recap because we will go off the rails.
Okay,
So
okay.
so COVID pushes you pretty much like you got to do something
I
because
was real cozy. I was real
we ain't
cozy.
we ain't flying nowhere. We ain't outside. And we are literally just in our boxes. Like what are we gonna do today?
That's
And you
it.
said, all right, VO, you've been tapping me on my shoulder. Let me go ahead and answer the call. Um, for those people that are watching, especially for young ladies, and this is something I want to touch on. In our business, yes, it is cool to have a great and powerful voice,
Yeah,
because
listen.
yeah, we can be impactful with what we say. For women, however, sometimes having the type of voice that you have, you can get pigeonholed as
Yeah,
the vixen and the
yeah.
sultry siren and all this. What did you do to kind of shatter that? Like, yeah, I know the kind of voice I have, but that's not all that I am.
The best thing I think I ever heard, and I must have heard it more than once in various ways, but someone broke it down. They were like, "Stop being so in love with your voice, or stop being so precious with it." And so, yeah, for everybody that thinks I have a great voice and therefore I must be ready to voice, it's acting. It's acting first. So, really, it took me a lot to bust out of my Delilah voice, bust out of trying to sound, trying to sound very smooth and sexy and cultured and cultivated
Right.
and articulate, excuse me.
Articulate, yeah.
Yeah, I really have to give it a little edge, like a little like, take a little scouring pad and scour it up, try to remember how I speak to my friends, but also there's a thing that even now it's kind of stuck now, and I it's a rasp that was already there, but the texture's
Mhm.
turned up a little bit more, so I had to really and then actively in most auditions, actively listen and say, "Well, does that sound like 1-900 or 1-800?" You know, like, let's dial it
Yeah.
in and try to bring it back, so but I think I found my groove, my niche, so to speak, and it just took yeah, falling out of love with my voice, stop listening to myself so closely and wanting everything to be this velvety, perfect, smooth thing, you know? Um, yeah, it just growth with a F,
So growth.
growth.
Did you find it was difficult for folks that were casting? Because sometimes, especially again, for women who have that quote unquote that sultry voice, that you're trying to say, look, I can do it
Yes.
this way. I don't have to be so in my rasp. Let me show you my range. Like, no, we kind of like the sexy voice. Like, talk about how breaking those barriers, because I know it can be a thing where a woman, and even for some men, like they always want us to be in that register where everything just sounds so
Yeah.
sexy.
Yeah.
Like, how talk about how you had to tell people, "Look, yeah, I got that, but, if
Yeah.
you let me look in the toolbox, I got some other things too." For them to finally say, "Okay, you're not just the
That
sexy sultry girl, you have range, you can do this, you can do that."
other sounds, yeah. Like, "Sir, I'm selling cheese. Why do you need me to sound like that?" Um, I don't understand why I got to sound okay, okay. Um, you know okay, if I may talk, like, frankly, I didn't
Okay,
have to
come on.
okay, I didn't have to deal with that, what I had to deal with was them being like, "Can you sass it up? Be homegirl a little bit more." So they weren't
Oh.
looking for me to sound, like, very sexy, they weren't. They were looking for me to sound like round the way a little bit.
Mhm.
So, yeah, so that's more of what I deal with, and it was easy I mean, not easy because that was difficult for me not coming up in an urban area or not coming not being able to identify that. So when they put Black and urban together the way they do, it's very unfortunate because we are not all from an urban area, but I understood what they wanted from me pretty easily, and it was not to lean into the I blew up around Black Lives Matter and all of that. I mean, phew, took off, and it was then they wanted diversity and equity and inclusion, but they wanted me to sound diverse and included. So that's the thing that I heard the most. Not sexy it up, but in fact messy it up, dirty it up more, sound more regular, more girl next door. And so that's what I heard all the time. And it was either sink or swim. I kind of had to do that. So sexy, by the time I got popping, wasn't even a thing. I've got some automotive now. Even that is not. it used to be like the all new da 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 da, but now that's not even what I'm getting. So maybe fortunately and unfortunately, because it would be fun to, put the pipes on them, but that I would have fun with it, but
For sure.
that's not my experience. It just isn't. They are not looking for that from me.
Well, that's cool.
Mm,
And I think that also speaks to people in casting now are starting to and I've talked to about this with other voice actors of color. You can't, when you open a box of crayons,
mm,
even you have brown, but then there's like 30 other versions of that brown. And when you take brown out and then you take taupe out and then you take mahogany out and you go on the paper on the canvas, you're gonna get 3 different shades.
yeah, yeah,
And it's the same thing with us.
yeah,
If
yeah, for sure.
you put me in a room with somebody like BZ who, he wake up like, "Rah, rah, rah, rah." I got a nice
What do you sound like?
rah, 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 I like right now in my normal speaking voice, this is my normal speaking voice.
Yeah,
I can go lower, but that brother wake up already at the pitch of
there,
the hell.
basement floor.
He there. I had to press the B. He like, I live down here, bro.
Well,
It's one of those things where I think, and I still feel they have a long way to
oh,
go,
trust and believe, yeah.
but they're starting to recognize that we
It's
can
not one
do
size fits all. Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is not Miss Seeley's one size fit
right,
all. But
absolutely.
they are, like I said, they are getting there, and I'm glad that at least in our generation, because talking to VO of color in the past, it
It was
wasn't
bleak out here in these streets for us, man. Yeah,
it was
yeah.
some dark times. Um, so now we get past the pandemic, and like you said, you starting to like just poop 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 poop, and that name is getting out there. Um, talk about for you, when did you realize that it went from can I do this? Okay, I'm doing this. Oh shoot, I can't believe I'm doing this to like I'm doing this.
I'm still some days, I'm still not like, I know I'm doing this, I'm definitely doing this, but it happened it's difficult to say because the timing and being ready, so I didn't have to get ready, allowed me to take off really quickly. So I just wanna say that first because when I say that I blew up quickly, I don't want people to look at that or hear that and think, "Oh, it's just because I was prepared." I just didn't put my whole soul into it until COVID, but I had the full studio built, all the stuff, my classes taken. I just wasn't taking it seriously because I had another job.
Mhm.
So I didn't have to go all in, but with that said, it did happen so quickly that I still some moments have this thing, I have to pinch myself or kinda remind myself who I am sometimes if I get discouraged about an audition or something, because let's see, okay, I'm doing this the first couple national spots, that felt like a fluke, imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Um then promo took off. I wasn't even gunning for it. That was interesting. And then when friends and family started, "Is that you? Is that?" Then I thought I was like, "Oh, but don't get too cozy." But then the major representation, the back to back bookings, and the VO, what was it called? The it's a survey they send out to see what the average person is making in VO.
Yeah.
We talking now, right? We family, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
Okay. I learned that most voice actors and most people who consider themselves professional, because I wouldn't even fix my mouth to say or type my fingers to say professional. I think I put like intermediate the very first go around that I did that. And I learned very quickly that I was in like the top, like this side of the scale, percentile of
Mhm. Mhm.
income. That was very unusual, very unusual. So, and to be especially so quickly. So I think that's been the most humbling, but also the thing that let me know you are good. Like you're good. You wouldn't be making it if you weren't good and in demand, they wouldn't be calling you. So that, like I said, sometimes I still get my feelings hurt, but the paychecks are the reminder and they keep coming back. So yeah, that's the mama I made it moment. But there are still days when I feel like, like I can't believe I'm here. It's still happening.
Well, this year celebrates my 15th year.
Oh, come on in.
And yeah. It's and I just realized that just a couple of days ago because I found an old picture of me and I was in one of my boys' house and he had a microphone set up because he had wanted to get into VO.
Okay.
Um, and I was recording some stuff and I'm like, man, first of all, I had none of this.
None
It
of
was
it.
all no facial hair. It
Just
was
a
all
baby
black,
face.
just a baby face back in 2009. And then I
That's wild.
recall going from recording stuff to in his house to having my computer desk on one side of my apartment with this 30-foot long XLR cable going into my closet. So I
Yes.
would hit record and go, and then go all the way back in the front and stop. So now, you know, got the home joint going. You I say this to you and to anybody else that's watching that it can happen.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
you know, and for some people it's meteoric, and for some people it's a slow burn.
Yeah,
But however you get there, just take what you can from the process and enjoy the moment because
every step, yeah.
yeah, you'll never forget what you went through. And I say this often, so many people in our business or wanting to get in our business, they see the after,
Right.
yeah, but they don't know the before. And I never forget the before because it makes me appreciate the after even much more. So uh, that's Trey's tip for the day.
Listen, I wanna know though, I wanna know how did you so 15 years, how did you know? Can I interview you back? How did you know? How
Flip
did you know
flip
that
it.
was a thing? Like, how did you know voiceover was something that you could even do? Because I had a theater background. I knew I wanted to be a singer. I knew I wanted to be an actress, but I couldn't say like this is the most perfect thing because guess what I don't want to deal with? Apparently, people face to face. So this just worked all
Says the
these
flight
big
attendant
dreams.
who waves every day. Thank you for flying. Thank you for flying. Enjoy your stay.
And this is
Welcome
the
to
best
Dallas.
thing. So how did you know that voiceover specifically was the thing? Like, you knew 15 years ago that you wanted to do this?
I'll go back even further. Not even 15. I would go back 30 years ago.
Wow.
Um, and yeah, because yeah, I'll be 50 this year. So let's go back even further, 40 years ago.
Zaddy.
As you know, as a kid, I was always um a class clown.
Yeah.
People thought I was funny. I would take comic books in any book I was reading, and I would always flesh out the characters. So if I'm reading a book and it says, and the bear snarled and said, "I'll eat you," I wouldn't just go, and the bear snarled and said, "I'll eat you." I'm like, "I'll
Mhm. You
eat
gotta
you."
add that little stank on it, that little
I didn't know that that's what that was
Yeah.
because you're talking about a 8, 9, 10-year-old kid and black kid in Miami who
Right.
knows nothing about voiceover. But I would often imitate the announcers on TV, the announcers on wrestling. Watching a lot of PBS, you get inundated with British humor. So
Okay.
that's how I developed,
Yeah. Yeah.
British accents and things like that. So I think even then the seed was there, but nothing was, giving it. I didn't have nothing to sprinkle the water on.
Yeah.
Um, when I got laid off uh, in late 2008, and I'm sitting there watching documentaries and playing video games and watching cartoons, that's when all of a sudden that seed started to pop up a little bit. I'm like, "You wanna do this? Well, we've been kinda doing it already."
Yeah, yeah.
And, between 2009 and 2012, I'm like, "I kinda like this." Between 2012 and 2015, it went from, "I kinda like it," to, "I think I can be pretty good at this."
Okay.
And then from 2015 through 2018, I'm like, "Your boy ain't so bad." And, and then from there,
Nicely.
it's just yeah, and then from there, it's just like, "What y'all got for me?" But it took time for that to happen, but I think for me, just being the kinda kid that I was a latchkey kid as
Yeah.
most of us were.
Yeah.
So, before my mom got home from work, being a school teacher, TV and radio entertained me. Me and my buddies would take our tape recorder, hit record, and then take our action figures that I still collect, and then like, I will defeat you. No, you won't, because I want the power. We just doing, and we just will play it back and just listen to us doing radio plays.
Oh, that was
And
adorable. Yeah,
then
you've been doing this. You've been
yeah,
doing it.
and then you find out when you talk to other people, well, back in the day, we used to do radio plays. I'm like, damn, I did that too, but you didn't know it was a thing
Right,
because the environment that we were in, we didn't know such a thing existed.
exactly.
So I think for me, it was just innate, and then I just had opportunities to fertilize it and watch it grow, and now I bear the fruit.
And now
So
you Tre Mosley.
I do okay. I do okay. So one of the things I think is interesting, um, for your voiceover career, and like we said, it's been a meteoric rise. Um, One thing I find that's cool, uh, is that you're doing voiceover in a whole other country. Like,
Mhm.
talk about when you just said, "Alright, America," you know, um,
Yeah. Yeah,
how are you able to work, for some people, it used to be where you had to be in New York, LA, Chicago. Then
right.
when the internet came, it was like, okay, the internet kinda leveled the playing field.
Yeah,
Um, but now to take it a step further where you're not even in the country where you're
at
doing the
all.
majority of the work, how does that work in regards of, getting work, and you're in Mexico and you get a job in New York, and it's like, "Oh, we gotta coordinate the time because how do you fit out how do you make all that work?"
How does that work? Okay, well, it's surprisingly easy. COVID, I keep bringing her Covidisha up again, but she was the
Auntie
great
Rona.
she was the great equalizer that changed everything. I mean, the internet definitely helped. I think that agents and managers started working with, talent that were outside of their cities, but boy, Covidisha, like, knocked that down, and it smoothed it out and gave access to even more people. And with that, so not only did I get, my LA representation, my New York representation, living in Atlanta at the time, so neither one, and I do have Atlanta representation too.
I'm
But
so
then
happy.
during COVID, I realized I did not have to be there. I don't have to be there. I have to have a well-treated space. I have to have my good mic with me, and that's pretty much it. So, and I wanted to pay less than I was paying, and a and a breakup, and a breakup. It was a breakup. So I guess that I should put that first. That was a big motivating factor in just getting gone, but, um, it wasn't so far-fetched an idea to me, like, well, where am I gonna go? I wasn't from Atlanta. I didn't have any true ties back in North Carolina, where I'm actually from, so I thought I
Mhm.
can be anywhere. Why not go by the beach? Why not go to the tropics? Why not go, someplace and wake up every day and see sun and they take that check and make it stretch, so that
I'm
was it.
telling
It took me all of 2 weeks to make the decision. I hadn't even been contemplating it.
really.
I went from breakup to 2 weeks later, master plan, took my suitcases out, took my mic and everything with me. I did have a really nice studio in Atlanta, custom built. This one here, I had one built as well, a space built, but that was a little bit hard because I had just started really snowballing and taking off, and I thought, well, am I still going to be able to maintain this level of quality, this level of, but I was. I mean, I hit the ground running, got here, got my place, had somebody come and build out my space to record, and it's been absolute cake. Cancun, Playa del Carmen, Tulum area is all on, well, I guess it would be Eastern time, but y'all go back and forth with the what you call it, time change.
Times yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't happen here, so
Daylight
I just
so you had no daylight savings.
mm-mm. So I'm on Eastern time right now, yeah, and then when I just that's the only thing that's kind of rough is that I'm usually ET, but when the time changes, I'm CT here, even though we didn't change, and I just have
Wow.
to make sure not to mess that up. But it's not so far away. It's usually an hour time difference, from if that from New York, and 2-3 hours max from Cali. So it really isn't that bad. It isn't as if I'm having to wake up in the middle of the night. I have done that though, because as you mentioned earlier, I do a whole lot of travel, and I'm interested in taking my booth to go and going like living in um, Thailand for a couple of months, or going and living in Malaysia for a couple of months, or going in to South Africa for a couple of months. And I'm trying to just big myself up to go do that, but that will require the good math and being able to make that work and being able to get up at the right time and do and get on board with my sessions. But I think I can manage it. I still get an awful lot of travel in now. I'm blessed to be able to do that. So I think that's the next step. But here it's not been hard at all. It's been a breeze and it's been a blessing.
That's cool because
Yeah.
I know when you first got there and you used to send me videos and, you walking through the streets and the monkeys are walking
Yep.
right past you. "What's up, girl? How you doing?" "Yeah." You know, like, she out here doing it, man. Chilling with the monkeys on the porch, like, "Got this banana for you, man. You want some?
I
Oh, you
was
good?
growing 'em,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, that's good."
I'm more like, this is still not Centro because I just refuse. There's Centro, and anybody who's been to Playa Cancun, which, Tulum, that whole area, like, they know, like, there's a party area, and I just refuse to go there because the cost of living is much more. But when I first moved here, I was in the jungle. I was in the jungle, so when you were getting those monkey videos and stuff like that, I was truly out in the not quite wild, it was a neighborhood, but it was on the fringes of. And now I'm more like, more suburban, I guess I would call it, more suburban, so it's not
Do
quite.
they have a suburb out there? Like,
Oh, yeah.
what is that like?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Very much, well, here in Playa was a fishing town, so it's still not highly developed the way Cancun would be. So I was gonna say
Mhm.
it's like something you would see at home, and it is, but, like, outside of Atlanta, so it's nothing like Atlanta Metro in the Loop or whatever. But if you go out to, where was I at? Like Princeton Lakes or something like that, for example, where it's suburban but still green, not very crowded, traffic is not bad, it's like that. All the conveniences of home that I could want, plus I'm like 10, 12 minutes from the beach right now.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
cost of living is sick. But it's very similar. We have Starbucks, we have malls and stuff. There's a lot of things that when I come home to the States, though, I fill up my suitcase with grits and seasonings and hair products.
See, and that's the one thing because we were talking about, um, if we were to ever move abroad, I'm like, "There's
Yeah.
certain things I got to have."
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Who sell the best meat? Because your boy gonna
Yes.
grill,
Yes.
and Imma need me some grits.
Okay, well, you
I
gotta bring your
need
grits. You gotta bring
oh,
them.
I
But the meat, you can go right to the carniceria, and it's fresh, and it's likely just butcher like, my wings have never been better, my different things that I make, so you can get very, very fresh meat and go to the local store and get your tomatoes, and they're all, fell off the vine by themselves ripe, there's a difference. But we also have Walmart, and other Costco. I think there's a Sam's somewhere, but I haven't seen it.
really?
And yeah, and supermarkets as well, so I get a bit of both. The imported stuff, if you want imported things, like you want your Cheetos or something, those you're gonna pay for it. You're gonna pay out the nose. Uh,
Wow.
but small price to pay for the pleasure, for the convenience, for the
Sure.
cost of living. Yeah, small price to pay to have to pay a little extra for my American snacks.
Now being over there, and being a part of the commerce, have you had any work where you've had to speak in Spanish? Like, how is your Spanish?
Um
Is it conversational or can you get work from it?
Yo entiendo, pero I feel like I understand much better than I speak, and I read.
Y'all heard her just flex on the with the y'all
The
heard that, right? With
tiniest
the
bit,
little
but I don't
fat.
want none of your listeners to be like, you ain't say that right. You ain't say that right." So, but I understand very well, and that's been amazing, a way to get by. And I speak okay, but I think that I have the conjugation, like the grammar of a toddler. Like I put, I eat food or something like that. Like it's very basic. So after a
Yeah.
few words, you can tell that okay, she understands, but my conversation back is not the most on point. I know the bad words. I know the food. Um,
Why is it that we always learn the bad words?
Always,
I don't
but it's no, it's not been difficult. However, I will say it has helped because sometimes in the castings that I get for, like, BIPOC, or they're looking for a person of color, maybe they want someone who can at least correctly roll those R's to say this thing, and that has actually worked in my favor because I do have that going for me. But I would never presume to, and I don't. Sometimes I get castings, and I think, well, I could say this, I could do this, but I'm still going to leave it to my Spanish speaking, to my Latin, to my Mexican talent, to someone else to get. So
Mhm.
it's a fine line. If they're looking for Afro Latina, I might touch that if I can do those things without being, being without losing my integrity. I live
Sure.
here. I'm in the lifestyle. I can speak the language to some degree. I might audition for that, but there's a certain, if it's a commercial, like something like that, that doesn't require history or so much of the lived experience. But beyond that, I just leave it alone, even if I can do the accent and communicate effectively enough. It just still isn't my place. So I don't feel anyway. It's my place to take that away from anybody else. So
That's cool.
yeah.
Um, Now I know you mentioned, and I'm going way back,
Uh-oh.
uh,
Okay.
that your little one has developed a manly voice. Has he expressed interest in getting in the business? Or has he done anything?
I have tried to get that boy in the booth. Xander can't act his way out of a paper bag. We're
I don't
gonna
do
re
my buddy like that. That's
do
my
him like
man.
that, though. Imma do him like that because I have tried. He's got the most, like, it's the best voice, and I'm like, I don't know where he, well, I know where he got it from, but
Okay, now.
but it's the coolest voice that he's had since he was little, just a really big voice for a little guy, um, and it's got a little rasp to it, and it's just really just
Oh,
it's I wish I had something to play, but I try to get him in there a time or two when they ask for kids casting, and he just does not yet, we're gonna say yet, have that acting thing where he sounds believable, where I could get him in that script. I just haven't been able to do it, so maybe acting
you tell
lessons, 'cause I would love for him to
you
try,
tell
and
him
he's
Uncle Trey gonna get him right. He
let's
gonna
get
get
him
him
right. Come on,
right.
uncle.
We
And
gonna
I
get
think
him
that
right.
he's interested, he's definitely interested, but boy, I have to delete that stuff so fast. I love you, baby, if you listening. I love you. Mama love
Wow.
you.
Don't That's just wrong. That's wrong. So when and I like to discuss this with folks because it's just a good memory.
Hmm.
Talk about the first time you booked something and you were like, I know you lying. Like they gonna pay me that to I know you lying. Like the first one that just kind of made your mouth drop and you like this can't be no.
Yeah.
No.
You already know what it is. I was on there was when I was still in Atlanta. I had not moved. I was not full time. I was still flying right prior to COVID. I would say a month or two, maybe 3 months, but very, very close. But when it was when I knew I needed to do something serious.
Oh, I re-
See?
that was the first that was the
That
first
was
one?
it. And it was the first job, the first national my first job was a national spot. That's all I got to say. Like, well, first outside of doing like small businesses, but like first thing that I auditioned for, I should say, was a national spot and got it. And it was on. Are your listeners familiar? Voice 123. It's a
Yeah,
platform
yeah.
for. Okay, it's a platform for people to put their businesses and things like that to put auditions on, and for voice actors to come and read for these spots and figure out, put their hat in the ring. And I auditioned for this. Do I say brands and everything? What do I say?
Sure.
I can? Okay,
You can
because 'cause it's
talk
been a
about it.
while. Okay. There was this let's say most of the jobs on there range from $50 to maybe, $500. The range, I would say the biggest, would you agree with me, Trey? It's like 50 to 500 would be the, and then you
Yeah.
get a couple outliers, 6, 7, 8, maybe 1,000, and that's really doing something. They had a job on there for $10,000. And I auditioned for it, and I got it. And it took maybe 2 months, so I didn't hear anything for a while, so I was kinda sad, but, like, of course, I knew everybody on the platform probably had auditioned for it, so, at
Yeah.
first I'm like, "Oh, that would've been really great," and then I get the email. But that was the one where I was like, "Let me sit down and reevaluate my life because this is like, listen, I what do I do now? Because I am a professional, and sure enough, it went national. Friends and family heard it, and that was my first audition, first real like big time gig. Like it all happened right away before I had even gone full time. But that's was also some of the impetus to say, you can do this. Go ahead and take them little 10 G's and believe in yourself. And yeah, that was it. But it made my jaw drop because it it, let me know that there were jobs like that available, and since then, they only get better, but it let me know that there's money like that to be made, and I can make it, I have what it takes, I can do this, so, Yeah, that was it. How about you, Trey? I wanna know.
Well, my first one, and ironically, it's still running because
Sure.
they renew every year. Uh, yeah, man.
Okay.
Um,
We love renewals.
um, yeah, oh, do
We
we?
love
We
renewals.
we we do. So the Baltimore Aquarium,
Okay.
um, and we can talk about this as well. So I'm a big marketer. I hit up LinkedIn. I reach out to production companies. Um, and just as a disclaimer, yes, you can have agents, but
Mhm.
your agents will only get you a percentage of work. You still have to go out there and grind, y'all.
Hustle, that's
I
right.
15 years and I still hit production companies up.
Wow.
15 years in the game and I still go on LinkedIn and read articles and scour and say, "Oh, that person's doing good in that business. Let me go and hit them up real quick."
Right,
So
you gotta teach
in
me.
this
I need to touch
particular
the hem of your
instance,
garment because 'cause I'm really not
hey,
that good
man,
at that.
we gotta get you right.
I
In this particular instance, and here's a tidbit that you and the listeners may not know for any voice actors that use Source Connect.
Mhm. Mm.
Source Connect has a directory. That directory will tell you any voice actors that use their Source Connect, any production companies that use Source Connect. And I went on Source Connect one day and I went through all the production companies that use it to see what type of work they do. Some people use it for music, some people use it for voiceover. I got all the voiceover companies and I started just hitting them up.
Hitting 'em
This
up.
com- this
Love it.
production company hit me up and said, "Hey, we have an audition. It's for a campaign. It's a regional campaign for the Washington D.C. area, and maybe we might touch Delaware and Pennsylvania." And it was 3 spots total, and it was for the Baltimore Aquarium.
Okay.
And they sent me the copy. And one of the things when you were saying like falling in love with your voice, as
Yeah.
soon as I saw it, I was like, "Oh, they want something sexy." I know. So I'm all in the booth, like, yeah,
Yes,
so and so
love
and so and
it.
so and so. And it taught me something very valuable that day. They loved ironically, they loved my voice, but they didn't like the read.
Mhm.
So now I'm confused, like, so
So,
you
what do you
you're
want
digging
from
the
me? I
pipes.
don't.
You're digging the pipes, but you don't want the pipes?
Right,
Like,
right,
we
right.
like, we love it, but we want you to be more intimate, talk to someone with amazement and wonder. And, that kinda crushed my ego
Oh, I know it, baby, I know.
because I'm like, "But this is how I make my money. I
Yeah,
talk like this. You
yeah.
gonna love it." But no, that ain't what they wanted.
Oh, I know.
So, I said, "Okay, let me, let me think about it." And I went and got the script again, and I looked at the video that they sent, and you see the beach, and you see kids, and it's like I said, excitement and wonder.
Mhm.
And I just took a breath, and instead of going way down here,
Mhm.
I spoke very calmly like this, and I said, "The water is calling. Where will it take you?" "The National Aquarium. Buy tickets at agua.com." And I
I
sent
would buy
that.
you.
So I sent that and they were like, "Yeah, so let's get a session and we go." And I read it like that. And that one was also for $10,000.
That's
And
amazing.
I was like, "Oh, they like me."
Oh, they like
And
me.
then after that, it ran that whole summer. The next year I get an email. It's like, "Hey, so we're doing a campaign again and nothing for you to record. We just want to know if we can uh, use your voice again on the spots. If you say yes, sign the paper,
And
we
get
pay
your
you
check.
some more." I
Love it.
said,
Love
"Okay."
it.
So here we are now, 4 years later,
That is so
and
nice.
them bad boys. Where will the water take you? Take me to the bank,
The bank.
baby.
Hey.
Hey,
Hey.
splash.
I swear, I used to call myself the queen of swine because JVL, they renewed that contract so many times, and I was just like, "Mm, mm, y'all eating pork and pork products out there?" I know. Like, I was so excited about that. They
Got to
were
keep it
good to
moving.
me. So those renewals mean the world. Like, you still wanna okay.
Yeah.
We still
You
rock
still
together?
like me.
Okay.
Oh, they think they like me. Yeah, they
Yeah.
like like it. What do you feel now, having been doing this full time? uh, for as long as you have. Um, from the COVID days till now, what do you feel? Uh, how do you see yourself growing even bigger than what you are or where you are now? Like, where are you going to take off to next?
Wow. Okay. Making me pull out my vision board.
Hey, now
Right. It is right after New Year.
you
Uh,
know it.
well, my friend group, they keep inspiring me to know what is possible. And I'm in a chat with some other lovely black ladies of VO, and we are excuse me, sharpening iron. So when I see what they can make and what they can do, it definitely blows my mind, and inspires me so much. I have a few extra digits I wanna put in front of what I'm making now.
Hey, now.
Um, uh, but, um well, okay, for example, I just got a movie trailer, and it's something that, of course, I always wanted because I thought I could do my girl female version of a "In a World" voice, but even
Hey.
that cracking that door open now is like, "Oh, I could do more of this." So I suppose okay, more certain number of figures ahead of the number that I've got now, plus,
Mhm.
plus, live announce. I do live announce. I do a lot for, like, events and things, but I want to, like, live announce, like, be I want some on-camera, access, and exposure. What else? What else? What else? What else? More spaces being broken down that are typically male dominated, so we know VO in general was or is mostly male dominated, but women are catching up, but I would like just more exposure, more cars and promos and trailers and just things like that. That's like I'm here, I'm here. And let's see, anything else? Yeah. Oh, animation. So voice acting for video games is absolutely amazing. And the experience that I've had with you and your show, absolutely so much fun. And it would be amazing to be able to combine that and be this character who's doing all the stunts and all the tricks and all the, but from the safety and convenience and comfort and warmth of my studio. So you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
out there, my character is, buzzing splits and flying through the air and kicking people and doing all kind of but here I get to just sit and make exertion sounds, so I think those will be the things that I'm really gunning for, live announce, animation, coming for you, and just, I'm happy with my figures, but I want them to figure a little bit more, so,
Sure.
so that yeah, yeah, yeah. How about you?
Oh, man. Well, speaking of said animated show, we're just looking for the right people to say yes, and, you know, I'm hoping that this will be the year. I've talked to some people who are interested, and when I say interested, may actually open up said checkbook and say, "Go on and keep the party going."
Okay.
And if everything goes the way I think it's going to go, we will finally have some scripts for you to read for your character.
Would love
Uh,
that.
so for me right now, I think where I am, um, with the work that I'm doing, I'm in a good place. As you, I wouldn't mind another common zero.
You
I
man.
would not. I would not mind. But at the same time, there are some doors that I want to. I've been able to peek in, and
Yeah.
now I just want to
Bust it
bust it open. Like,
bust it right
nah,
open.
I ain't going. I ain't going nowhere. Uh, the video game realm is definitely one of them. I've been fortunate uh, in the past couple of years to have been on some very cool titles. Of course, Madden, that's
Of
continuing.
course.
But, to be in Starfield,
Yes.
that's crazy. But I wanna, stretch my legs in that a little bit more.
Yeah.
I wanna this is my ultimate
Okay, okay, let's hear it.
dream,
Let's hear it.
and y'all gonna clown me and folks gonna clown me. I don't care 'cause it's my show, but I wanna be Batman.
Listen,
I wanna be an animated Batman so bad.
you got it. It's
You
yours.
can you
My
can
shirt
take
says, "Ashe Pati," it's yours. Ashe to
hey,
you. So
'cause
let it be written, so let it be done.
I feel you, and I know people are gonna say, "Well, Kevin Conroy is my Batman." Rest his soul, he is no longer here, and there have been other actors who have done Batman, and then also realized that for a while in certain Batman comics, there was a black Batman.
Mm.
And I'm just saying,
I'm
if
just
y'all
saying.
need if y'all need the black Batman,
You got it.
somewhere on Earth 31 where Bruce Wayne is the black dude and not Batwing,
Right.
but Batman.
Man. Mm.
Imma book it.
That's the
I don't know
one.
when,
You
but
got it.
that's the one.
You got it.
Other than my own show, yeah, to be Batman, you couldn't tell me nothing.
I feel you.
There would
I
be
feel
bat
you.
wings all over this wall.
You
Just
would just she would
just
be so
the
tired of you.
I would change my motif, and y'all know how I love my Raiders. I'm like, "Raiders, y'all my people, but I'm Batman." And
All
they would
bat
be
everything, right?
all bat everything. I put it on the side of my car, I'm like, "Who is this brother? Oh, y'all ain't heard? He's Batman." That would be my thing.
I
Um,
love it. I love it.
so let's have a little fun because 'cause we're about to wrap up.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Um, and I just someone just asked me this, and I'm gonna ask you. The first baller thing you bought when you got when you got one of them big VO bags, you did what?
Probably one of my JMC, the VO retreats,
Hey
those
now.
are a hefty price tag, baby. I was up in Switzerland or Barcelona somewhere, and I do travel a lot, but I'm not a budget traveler either because 'cause I'm not about to be in anybody's hostel, not ever again in life, but I would be, like, mid-grade, and I think that was it no, it was Ireland. The Euro retreat, VO Euro retreat to Ireland. That thing, I wanna say, was almost 8,000, maybe $7,000 to for a shared room, but either way, never dropped that kind of money at one time on one thing, and on my travels or on anything else. I think that was the one, and I got wined and dined and lobstered and taken very well care of, and it was worth everything, and it also helped me to program my mind that you are worthy, you deserve this, and more will come, good things will come. Don't be stingy, don't be afraid. I really like that was my mantra and my affirmation. So I dropped that ball of cash, had an amazing time, and continue to treat and reward myself for my hard work ever since then. So now I'm a little bit what they call bougie. What they call it, bougie, but that was probably it. It would be travel. My money every time I get money is food and travel, so I just keep leveling up and taking more and more extravagant, type trips, but I come back restored and feeling deserving and ready to go make the money to replace it, and I'm telling you, I was just telling my partner this, it always comes back. When I take care of myself in that way, in this place of not feeling tight-fisted or stingy, like, from a place of lack, like, but from prosperity, "Oh, don't worry. This seems like a lot. It's coming right back." It
Coming back, yeah.
always comes right back. I don't even miss it. So, hopefully it's
Now
a
that's
lesson I can convey to everybody.
being that you were, in a business that had you traveling everywhere, is there somewhere that you so twofold, is there somewhere you've been that you just say, "Never again"? Or and you can answer both. Is there somewhere that you're like, "Haven't been, but it's coming"?
Okay, okay. Hmm. There are places that I've had some interesting experiences, but I still can't say never again. I had the only really racist experiences ever in Croatia.
Wow.
But it's so incredibly beautiful that I won't say never again. I'm not sure under what circumstances I would have to go back, but it was Eastern Europe in general for me was the only place that I've ever been where I was getting direct comments and seeing things that were really disturbing. Um, but I still wouldn't say never again because, right, you can't just the acts of certain people don't make this whole country or this whole, it's not a bad thing. So I won't say never again, but those were the only bad ones. Other than that, I would go everywhere that I've been already twice. And the real mama I made it like of travel is I've been to Antarctica. Um,
Really?
yeah, yeah, I've been to
Huh.
all 7 continents. Yeah.
That how was that? Um,
Breathtaking. Breathtaking. Not as cold as I would have thought. I mean, I think if you get out there and stand long enough, you'll probably freeze, but it felt like a good New York winter to me. Like it was really, really, really
hmm,
cold, but not I don't know. I don't know what I expected, but I thought it was going to be like you can barely breathe cold, and it just wasn't, not where I was. Um, So what's coming? What's coming so I think I hit my pinnacle. I brought that up to say, like, if the things that I thought that I could never do, I've been to the motherland a few times. I've gorilla trekked and swam with sharks and gone to Antarctica. So now I'm kind of coming back around to just find beautiful places, with a rich culture and history that I simply haven't hit in getting to these continents. So it's going to be Brazil. I still haven't been, and Portugal and the Azores. I've heard it's said many different ways, but those are probably my top 2 right now, and I want to go back to Africa, to Tanzania, I've heard it said both ways,
Mhm.
for the, wildebeest migration. So
Oh,
those are my top ones right now, so keep a lookout, because that's where my heart is really, really telling me to go. But I've been lucky to go just everywhere, and it's all been wonderful. There's not one place that I would rule out for forever, you know?
one day I want to go to the Maldives.
Mhm.
Uh, Dave Fanoy turned me on to the Maldives because he does a thing over there, some type of conference, and it's always in the Maldives. And he's like, going to the I'm like, and I between him talking about it and then watching the movie Couples Retreat,
Mhm.
where they're in Bora Bora, I'm like,
Mhm.
got both of those on the list.
Gotta
So
get some overwater bungalow action. You gotta have
I'm
a short
telling you,
trip.
man, I
Listen.
gotta get out of the country and do things.
Yeah, you
Uh,
do.
you
Yeah, you
know,
do. It's breathtaking. You absolutely must. I don't know. Come on in. Don't let me have to call y'all up for a little couples trip.
you ain't said nothing, Jack.
Listen.
It's on and popping. So we good on time. We good on time. So let's wrap it up with this.
Okay,
Um, so the name of the show, of course, is Take Time Out with
okay.
Tre Mosley. And again, thank you for joining me or us who are watching.
It's my
Uh,
pleasure.
uh, you've kind of alluded to it because we've talked about it already as far as travel, but in the spirit of the show, um, when the mic is off and you're out the booth and the monkeys ain't chasing you and um, is there anything you do, and even when you're traveling, um, what does Rebecca Lee do to take time out for herself?
Hmm. That's a wonderful question and a great way to end the show. Um I've learned that I'm an extroverted introvert. So my time out really is time with self to recenter. And for me, the thing that always brings me back to stasis, to equanimity, is just existing in gratitude, in this place of gratitude. I'm so grateful and so happy and so fortunate and so favored. So I take time out, whether it's just outside in nature, like if I'm traveling, it's just to look around and think, I am here. I can't
Mm,
believe I am here. Um, and if it's home, laid up on my couch on a regular Wednesday, because I have nothing to do past 2 o'clock because my sessions are done, I am here and I am grateful because in both cases, there are people that would love to be doing that. There are people that would love to not have to work all day and all night and hate their jobs. I'm here where I come and I get to talk to you or other people in a booth. So what I do to take time out is just that. Take time out, pause, and reflect on and on how good things are and how beautiful things are. And like I said, it might be looking at a sunset or reading a book or just laying there with a glass of wine, not being anything, just existing. But that is all. That's how I come back to myself, how I come home to myself, just to remember and reflect and take a little breath and just say, this is the dream. I'm living the dream, and I'm fortunate and happy.
that's so dope. Um, so I will say that, like I said, to see um, where you were and where you are now, I am very proud of you. And yes, you are worthy. And I
Thank
wish
you.
you continued success and just keep doing your thing.
Thank
Um,
you, Trey.
Tell the good folks how they can find you out there on the socials and all that good stuff.
Okay, 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 Lord. I'm not that active on social, y'all, but if you find me and you follow me, I'll definitely try to say, hey, pop in or follow back. I'm Rebecca Lee Speaks across most things. So on IG, I know TikTok, don't look for anything there. Facebook for sure. I'm actually most active on Facebook, very telling of my age group. Um, And my website is RebeccaLeeSpeaks.com. So the best ways of reaching me, RebeccaLeeSpeaks.com or RebeccaLeeSpeaks@gmail.com or Rebecca Lee Speaks on Facebook. One of those you'll definitely get me, and I'll be happy to have you.
All right, there it is. I am Tre Mosley. That is, I told you I call her Velvet. Now you know it. Miss Rebecca Lee has joined us today, and thank you all for watching, and we will see you next time.
See
We
you
out
next
of
time.
here. Thanks for listening to the Take Time Out with Tre Mosley podcast, part of the Titan Media Network. You can find us on Spotify, Apple, iHeart, or wherever you get your podcasts. To see the video version of this, you can find us on YouTube on the Take Time Out with Tre Mosley YouTube page. Thanks for listening, or thanks for watching. Either way, we'll see you next time.